Hey guys, Diablo 4 here, back with another Dotarian video. Today we're going to be exploring the Druid class and some of my thoughts on this particular class during the beta experience. The Druid has been a very troubling character in the beta patch, with the entire ARPG community disappointed in his early leveling experience. Now bear in mind that this is still the beta of Diablo 4 and things are still subject to change. Also note that we're going to be talking about a Druid class without his Spirit Boon specialization and also only at level 25. So hopefully Blizzard adopts the wide amount of criticism found with this particular class. The Druid is an elementalist type class, summoning animal companions to his aid, conjuring the earth, wind and lightning, and bringing forth the wrath of nature. That being said, during this beta, the Druid has not felt like a powerful class at all, and has in fact had a horrendous leveling experience. Some of the main issues I found in leveling are the long cooldowns that you have with all of his skills, and the generation of spirit, which is his main resource. His spirit generation is done through his basic skills. You then spend your spirit through the use of your core skills. That being said, based on the build that you go, you basically just end up choosing Stormstrike as the best generator, as this generator gives you everything you need. It gives you damage reduction, crowd control, vulnerable damage status, and also the most amount of spirit generation per hit, making all the other basic skills inadequate. Because you're forced to pick this particular generator, it also feels that the Druid builds around this generator as well. It's suboptimal to take any other generator, so instead of going into a more thematic type of character, you're basically forced into a hybrid type, with a little bit of earth skills, a lightning basic generator, a little bit of bear skills, and perhaps you'll take a companion as well, making you a mishmash of broken toys, a zoo deck in a card game, and not even a good zoo deck, mind you, the kind that you use to climb when you first start with basic starter cards. On top of that, the core skills feel too expensive. You can only cast 2 to 3 core skills before it drains your entire gauge. Then you have to go back to swinging your slow, two-handed weapon for about 10 seconds to gain your gauge back again. And you're kind of forced to take the two-handed weapon because you'll be dealing less damage with your underpowered skills if you use the one-handed weapon. A lot of his damage perks and skills are difficult to optimize in the leveling experience as they're very conditional. Take the overpowered when healthy mechanic for one. As a melee character who's going to be going into the thick of combat, it's already difficult enough to meet the criteria of being healthy. The healthy criteria means that you have to be above 80% health. On top of that, you have the already abysmal spirit generation. So meeting the criteria of doing an overpowered attack when you're healthy is going to be very difficult to meet in the early stages of the game. Perhaps giving a more even distribution of spirit generation across all the basic skills, and maybe even slightly increasing the amount of spirit generation they provide. As you level up, the points in those skills could be worth considering. The damage multipliers on legendary aspects and items are too high, and the base damage of Druid skills just feel too low. The legendary items should change what the power or skill does, not just simply increase the damage number or the damage multiplier significantly. I mean, why would you not make a skill usable just because the number is too low, and then only make the item usable with a legendary? Doing this creates the need for lower build diversity, as people won't be willing to try new builds or items or skill combinations because the build is just not fun as it doesn't deal damage. Don't get me wrong, I mean, I don't think the Druid is a bad character. The Druid does feel decently powerful at level 25 with the right amount of items and gear. But this is basically a no-brainer, because why would you create a character that you work hard for in order for it to feel like crap? For a character who is so dependent on legendaries, the leveling experience does feel very underwhelming. But for the average player with a 9 to 5 job, they want to come home and come into a game where they feel powerful and truly immerse themselves into the leveling experience, not just work as hard on their night job as they do on their day job. It's also disheartening considering that in the beta, experience and loot rates were raised substantially for testing purposes. And I'll be honest, during this time, I had a moment of regret in choosing the Druid class, knowing that I would be investing time into leveling up this class for much longer than any other class, and I wouldn't have fun doing so. With this in mind, the archetype of a Druid is that of a hybrid experience. It's a class that shapeshifts between both werebear and werewolf melee forms, casts spells as an elementalist, and summons pets and companions, He's supposedly a jack of all trades, master of none, and this feels very true because his melee playstyles don't feel as strong as a barbarian or rogue, his spellcasting feels abysmal compared to the sorceress, and his companions are very weak compared to the necromancer. This is on top of the fact that the druid is played more efficiently as a melee class in the early game, and the issue with melee classes in Diablo 4 so far is another can of worms which could be talked about in a separate video. So just to recap, his lack of decent generators and very expensive spenders, and his heavy reliance on legendary gear makes the druid a very difficult player for a typical ARPG player to hold out to getting to the late game. It feels like the druid was created with the late game in mind, but was neglected on executing how he would feel during the leveling process. I mean, at the end of all this, despite everything that I've said, I do feel very hopeful about the druid class, as there's only one way to go, and that's up. I do also feel that the druid is going to be a very powerful class when Diablo 4 launches, but I'm saddened by the fact that if nothing changes, no one's going to play the druid class, because he's just too hard to level up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you found this video interesting, please give me a like on the video. Have an awesome day, and bye for now.
You are weak and foolish.